This is Akko.
And this is Tamo for the Akko and Tamo podcast, a podcast dedicated to parenting where we explore new perspectives
And share ideas on how to love yourself, love your partner, and shower your children with love.
This is episode 65.
And the topic of the day is manifest the calm, patient parent you want to be. And before we get started, please take a quick moment to subscribe to our show. Now let's get back to our recent happenings. So recently, we are starting to really grow our vegetable garden so that we can harvest a lot of stuff so that we can save and we can budget. And not only that, we can eat the food that we're growing and we know what's going into it.
It's organic, it's fresh, and highly nutritious, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we've been really growing that and just expanding that. And I had an auntie that came from far away and brought some dirt over from her place and trying to nourish this land that we have so that we can grow stuff that we could eat.
And the awesome part is we have our children join us and we have them digging things up and just watering and then teaching them what they're growing right now is something they're going to be eating in the future.
Exactly. We're just teaching both how to farm and just how to harvest and show them the growth, right? It starts from a little seed and then it becomes a plant and then it becomes a vegetable or becomes a fruit. Well, we have all vegetables, but it becomes a vegetable. And so it shows them their fruits of labor and it's really cool to see. But yeah, so let's move on to the topic of the day. And that is manifest the calm, patient parent you want to be.
Yeah, so about this topic today, it's because I've been going through a lot of frustration in terms of parenting. I think I mentioned this in past podcasts too, but it's been quite difficult for me being frustrated and not knowing what to do other than just being frustrated. And the issue with that is if I'm frustrated, the energy around me is frustrated, right? And that makes the kids feel the frustration, Akko feels the frustration, and it's not a good time. And I don't want to say it's always like that. It's just spikes here and there. And I noticed that it had been a cycle. And what I mean by a cycle is every couple months things build up and then I become quite frustrated and irritated with parenting. And then it becomes a match against myself to really try to keep it in and keep it together. And that's definitely an unhealthy thing to do. And I've been seeing this cycle play out again and again. And I knew deep in my heart that it was time to let this go. It's time to graduate this. And one night I was talking to Akko when the kids were sleeping. And so for us, we like to talk to each other when the kids are sleeping in bed together, right? We all co-sleep together. And as the kids are sleeping, we get to have our time and discuss things. And this time around, it was a discussion about my frustration with parenting. And Akko brought up that she also sees this cycle playing out and how many other parts of my life I have done a lot of work, a lot of inner work and let go a lot of things, doing a lot of the spiritual work so I can let go of things. And I felt parenting is one of those areas that I haven't done that. And as much as I wanted to, I actually didn't know what it was. And that was a kind of an insight that I had talking to Akko. And she really brought up the fact that it's something that she sees me struggling with. And it was time for me to really buckle down and get this in order. And soon after, I decided to take action and do intuitive writing. And intuitive writing is something that anyone can do and will bring a lot of insight and epiphanies to your life. And so what I want to do today is to share with you the process that I took and the changes that I've seen. And then also at the end, share with you tips on intuitive writing so that you can also experience the letting go and the freedom that you get after bringing light into the shadow aspects. Again, like I mentioned, it became very clear to me that I've been having issues with frustration in terms of parenting. So being irritated when our children makes a mess or starts screaming or running around, things like that. All the things that normal things kids do. And so what I did was I sat down and started to write. And intuitive writing is when you write without any judgment, you're writing fast and just pretty much unloading everything that you have in your mind, right? And in the beginning, there's a lot of things that will come up that are not necessarily related to the topic at hand, but you want to get rid of all that stuff, all the to-do list in your head, or maybe some conversation you had from the earlier part of the day, things like that. Just get it all out so that you can go deeper into your mind and go into your subconscious so you can go deeper and deeper, bringing light into your shadow aspects. Now, with that said, I kept on writing and then just wrote down all the things that were floating at the surface layer of my mind. And in terms of intuitive writing, this is the process that I took. So in the beginning, I set my intention about what I wanted to let go. And for me, it was being frustrated as a parent. And then I wrote that down on the top of the page and then began to intuitively write. And what that type of writing is, it's really fast writing. You don't slow down. You let things flow. You don't worry about anything that you've written, or even grammar, spelling. Don't worry about it. Just keep going. This is to get the things out of the surface level of your mind, and then you can go deeper into your subconscious. And then for me, once that surface level gets released, I start to ask myself this question, which was, why do I get so frustrated with parenting? And to go even deeper, I asked myself, before answering that question, I asked myself, what is frustration? And then I wrote the definition of frustration for myself. What does frustration mean? And so I wrote that down and then went back to the first question of why do I get frustrated with parenting? And then again, I answered that question, kept writing. And then once I wrote why I was getting frustrated with parenting, then I asked myself possible solutions or remedies to this issue that I'm having. And then again, this is all about going deep. It's not going to be just the surface layer. The first answer that came up to me, I sat with that answer and I felt into my heart. And being with my heart, being with this answer and through the heart, I felt that this answer was still a band-aid solution, and it wouldn't be a permanent shift that I would experience using this solution. And so I felt that I needed to go deeper and look for a more mature, wiser answer. And then again, by going deeper, a better, much better answer came, and I knew that this was something that I needed to explore a little bit more. Then the next thing that happened was I started to write down all of the expectations that I had as a parent for my children. I noticed that everything that I wrote down, that the expectations I had for my children were for them to be mature, well-adjusted adults. And these expectations are something that even adults can't live up to. And I felt that it was actually a mirror. I was projecting the expectations I have of myself to my children, because of course our children are a very close part of us and the expectations were set very high. And once I saw that, I had an aha moment, the epiphany. And once that happened, it was a blast of light into the shadows, into the darkness of myself. And just knowing that, just bringing that light was enough to clear and automatically let go of all that stuff. And I immediately felt a lot lighter. And even to this day, things have shifted so much that I still feel that shift. And my hope is that this will continue to be a permanent shift so that I can continue to improve as a parent. And so with that said, that's why I want to share the intuitive writing process with you today. And so let's go into sharing about the intuitive writing process. I'm going to give all these tips rapid fire, and I want to share the intuitive writing process with you. First of all, what you want to do is set aside maybe about 20 to 30 minutes in solitude. And of course, as parents, that might be really difficult. If you need to go into your car to get some solitude, do that. Just so you can have that 20 to 30 minutes. Maybe it can be at nighttime or early morning. Get up before your children. Take that time because it's going to be completely worth it. And then have that intention. What is your intention? For me, it was wanting to let go of this frustration that I have with parenting. Write that intention on a piece of paper and then get ready to intuitively write. Now, in order to do that, you have to write fast. You don't judge what you're writing. It doesn't matter what you write. You just continue to write. Don't stop. You write without stopping. No judgment. Spelling doesn't matter. Grammar doesn't matter. What you write doesn't matter. What you want to do is get everything on the surface level of your mind out on paper. And then once you start feeling that the surface level has been penetrated, then you can start going deeper by asking questions. So go deep by asking yourself about the emotions that you're feeling. If it's depression, ask yourself what depression means to you. If it's anger, what does it mean to you? Write all those things down. Write what those emotions mean to you. And then, after you write those down, ask yourself potential solutions for this issue. And we want to continue to go deeper, so don't stop at the first answer you come up with. Continue to go deeper by asking that question again, asking why, and then also asking yourself what a wise being, how they would answer this question, right? So if you were to ask a really wise being, someone you really respect, someone that has all parts of their life together, how would they answer this question? And then also write down all the expectations and or beliefs that you have about this situation, right? Usually at this level, you'll start to bring enough light to your shadow and you'll have a deeper insight into things that you need to let go of. And hopefully an epiphany if you went deep enough. Now, epiphanies are those sudden, oh, I get it, or like the clarity that comes and lifts a lot of confusion and obscurations. So that's where we want to go. That's the depth we want to go into so that we can bring light to the shadow or the darkness that we have, because we're having all these issues because there is not enough awareness. We're not aware enough of what we're doing. And by using this technique, you can go deeper, further, and have a lot of clarity into your own personal self.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. This can be used in anything in life, not only just parenting. It can be used to anything, like any frustration or grieving process that you're going through or anything. I really recommend that if you're going through something or if you find yourself in these like cyclical cycle of, as Tamo mentioned, like anger or frustration or sadness or anything, invite yourself to this intuitive writing and see where it takes you. And sometimes I have to say for myself, I don't know if I can endlessly write. You might have to just train yourself to also do that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you let go of your judgment about what you're writing, you just start to write anything. And even if it's the same sentence again and again, just to keep the flow going, you're writing very fast. And even writing, I'm writing a sentence, just continue to push that through and you'll start to see you can get deeper and deeper.
Yeah. So I invite everyone to use this type of method and see where it takes you and see if it really cleanses you and bring light to the situation that you're in. Because I have to say, after Tamo did this intuitive writing, he felt a lot lighter. The energy felt a lot lighter. I wouldn't say he acts a lot differently or anything, but I can see that he felt lighter in the situation. And yeah, I invite everyone to try to use this if you're going through something.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. And it's made a world of difference in my parenting.
Yeah. So the question of the day is, what do you want to let go through intuitive writing? We love to hear from you. Please come say hi by commenting on our website by going to akkoandtamo.com. That's AKKOANDTAMO.com and clicking on the podcast tab. And we're also on Instagram, so come on over and say hi at Akko and Tamo. All right, bye.
All right, take care.